Okay, sir. Yeah. Guys, I'm audible. If I'm audible, just drop the text in chat. Am I audible? Yes. So we'll start the session. So first of all, everyone, good evening. So I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Pavan. I'm from Maharashtra, Solapur, and I'm currently working with Fisbro as a technical mentor. So in today's session, we're going to solve the some TCS technical coding questions which are previous yearly they asked. Okay, so it will help to you to crack the TCS NQT. Okay, and you will get the idea about how we are going to basically write the program for that and read the entire program and how to build the logic and everything. Okay, so basically in TCS NQT they'll ask the max to max, the medium level and I would say hard level questions and easy level questions also sometimes. Okay, so accordingly I'm going to be solve the questions over here. Okay, so we'll start with the first question. Okay, so whenever I'm going to display the question, I'll give you some time also to think about the question. Okay, once you're getting the logic about that, just drop the text in what to say in chat box, or else we will discuss about that. Okay, so now I'm going to what to say showing the question now. So the question is the first question we will solve, which is nothing but this one. Okay, so read the question carefully. Okay, read the question carefully, and we need to solve the question. We need to solve this question. We need to the first thing we need to find out the logic for this. Okay, so think about it. Think about it. What it will be. Just read the question first of all. Yeah. So let's read the question. A boy enters a stationery shop. There are n number of pencils and m number of erasers available in the shop. But the boy mother insists that he can buy only P number of pencils and E number of erasers. The task here is to find out the number of ways to boy can choose P pencils and E erasers from the available N and M pencils and erasers respectively. Okay, question is very simple. What is that? One boy went for the stationery, right? In that shop, there is an N number of pencils and M number of erasers are available, right? And what boy's mother insists, okay, what she saying? You can buy only P number of pencils, okay, and E number of erasers. Okay, available N and M we have, but boy needs to buy only P number of pencils and E number of erasers from that. And what is the task over here? Here we need to find out the number of ways the boy can choose P pencils and E erasers from the available N and M pencils and erasers respectively. Okay, what are the inputs over here? What are the inputs? Let's try to understand. So first, what we have the N. N is like the number of pencils available in the shop, right? Next, we have M. M is nothing but number of erasers available in the shop. The next, what we have P. P is nothing but you can choose the P number of pencils he can choose by from the N. And also we have next E number of erasers he can choose to buy from a M. Okay, these are the inputs they are given. These are the inputs they are given, right? So let's go with the test case. Test case means they are going to provide the user going to provide the input. So accordingly, we need to write the program. Okay. So here we have the inputs. The first line contains the value of n. N is nothing but number of available pencils. The next line, one we have value 1, which is nothing but m number of erasers are available in shop. The next line we have P. P is nothing but it's mentioning like the boy can buy only P number of pencils. And next we have E. E is nothing but you can choose, you can buy or E number of erasers from the shop. The total and in output what it will printing is printing output as a 3. That is nothing but number of ways to we can choose. Okay, number of ways we need to find out. Let's draw it over here. Let's draw. So the first way, what is the first way? Okay, what is the thing over here? You can choose only maximum 2 pencils and 1 eraser, right? So we'll draw somewhere how many pencils we have. So how many pencils we have? The 3, right? So 3 pencils we have in shop, right? And how many erasers we have? Erasers, how many we have? Only one eraser, right? So these are the erasers, these are the pencils. So first way, okay, you can choose, and if I'm numbering these pencils, so this is going to be 1, 2, 3. If I'm numbering these erasers, so it's going to be 1. Okay, what is first way? You can choose first pencil and second pencil. Okay, you're going to choose first and second pencil. And how many erasers you can choose? Only one eraser. So for choosing the one eraser, how many ways are there? This is the for a P you can choose, and erasers is going to be one only, right? Next way, what is the next way? How many pencils you can choose? Next two, only can two choose you can, right? So what I'm going to do, you can choose the first pencil and third pencil, and how many erasers you can choose at a time? It's one only, right? Next, what is in another way? Third way, you can choose second pencil and third pencil. You are not going to be choose the first pencil, right? 2 and 3. So how many ways are there to choose the erasers? You will do one only, right? So after that, is there any fourth way is there to choose all these things? I tried all the combinations of P, or I tried all the combinations of E. So the no ways are there, right? So that's the reason it's going to be up to 3 iterations is going to be taken, right? 3 ways are there to choosing the pencils. So that is the output over here. We're getting the output as the same thing over here, 3, right? Let's go with the next test case over here. We have the next thing over here, 5, 3, 5 and 3, right? So that means how many available are there? So available in shop, which is nothing but 5, and what is that? Yum number of erasers also there. How many he can choose? P number of, right? That is 5, and next what we have, E number of erasers you can choose, which is nothing but 3. So checking over here, how many ways are there? So I'll check with the ways. Okay, first way, how many pencils you can choose? 5 pencils. So total how many? 5. We have 5, right? So that is one of the way to choose. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. How many ways are there to choose the erasers? 3. So how many available? 3, right? So it's going to be 1, 2, 3. Next, is there any other option we have to choose? No, only one option we have. How? You can only in shops available only 5, and he can up to the boy can buy up to 5, and in shop 3 erasers are available, and coming to the erasers also they have only 3, right? So now here we have the one here to solve this question. What we can do, and if I'm checking the output for this, is going to be 1 only. If you're checking for that previous this one, this test case, so output going to be 1. Now how to solve this question? So what are the ways to solve? Okay, so I'm going to use the simple math. What is simple math? What we can do? So I'm going to just use this simple NCR formula. I'm going to use the NCR formula. Okay, what is the NCR formula over here? What is the NCR formula? You're going to return the combinations. How many ways? Okay, I have a n number of elements. In that I want to find I want to pick the r number of elements, and how many ways are there. This is going to be written the how many ways. We're choosing the ways, right? So what is the formula over here for NCR? For NCR, the formula is n factorial divided by r factorial multiplied by factorial of n minus r, right? N minus r over here. So this is the actual formula. So we need to apply this the same formula over here to solve this question. Okay. So basically, I need to just find out the factorial of the whatever thing I want to do. So in this case, let's assume what is the NCR formula for this. So let's take this same example over here. Okay. So here n and p we have, right? So just consider this n as a this n and this r as a this p, right? So just add the things over here. So let's do the over here. So let's apply the same thing. So NCR. So it's going to be 5 factorial divided by R factorial. It's going to be 3 and multiplied by factorial of n minus r, which is nothing but it's going to be 5 minus 3, right? It's going to be 2. So now let's see over here. Just find out the things over here, what are the things, and just apply things. So 5 factorial. Okay, what is 5 factorial is 120, right? Divided by what is 3 factorial? What is 3 factorial? So it's going to be a 6, right? Multiplied by what we have next, 2. 2 factorial is going to be 2 only. 6 into 2, 12, right? It's going to be 12. It's going to be what? 120 divided by 12. It's going to be 10, right? So same thing, we need to find out for the what to say, the erasers, right? Right. So erasers we need to find out. So how to find out the erasers? Just apply the same formula over here. 3 factorial, right? Divided by again 3 factorial. Sorry guys. So yeah, we done the wrong thing. So basically it's going to be sorry, I applied the different one over here. Okay, so let's go with again the same example where I did the mistake. So pen, yeah. So let's insert formula. So n and r. So 5 factorial divided by 5 factorial, right? Then again multiplied by 5 minus 5 factorial is going to be 1. So it's going to be 120 by 120. So it's going to be 1, right? And next what we have for next this one. So it's going to be n and this one going to be r. So apply the formula 3 factorial and 3 factorial multiplied by factorial of 3 minus 3, which is nothing but 0. 0 factorial is 1. So 3's factorial is going to be 6 by 6 is going to be 1. So there are how many possibilities are there? So 1 into 1. So we got the 2 possibilities. Okay, I found out the 2 possibilities. How many ways are there to using the pencil and how many ways are there to choosing the rubbers? So just we need to multiply 1 into 1 is going to be output as a 1. So there is only one way to find out the how many ways are there to get the output over here. You can choose the P number of pencils and E number of erasers, right? So let's convert the same thing into program, right? So I'm going to use the Java over here. I'm going to use the Java. So I'm going to just the first thing first, the Java and util class, the pre-necessary thing I'm going to include over here, main and public static void main, right? String args. So scanner sc equals to new scanner, right? So system dot in, right? So I'm going to take the 3 things over here. What are the I'm going to take the 4 things over here according to the question. Okay, n m p e, right? So first n sc dot next int. Okay, we are going to taking the input from user n, and then p sc dot next int. Okay, n yum, right? So it's going to be n and the yum. Then again next p number of pencils we can choose. So sc dot next int. Then next we have p. Then again e number of erasers we can choose. E equals to sc dot next int. Okay. So now according to the formula, each and every time we need to find out the factorial, right? So for that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create one static function, okay, which will help us to return the factorial of a given number each and every time. Okay, this will help us to find out the factorial of a given number. So let's name it as a what we can name it as. It's going to be fact. Okay, I'm going to just give it as a fact. This function is responsible for the returning the factorial. So I'll pass. It will accept the n as a parameter. So I'm going to just take the result equals to 1. Okay, it will store the factorial over here. So I'm going to start the for loop from equals to 1 to I lesser than equals to the n. Because what is factorial? Factorial means we need to just multiply all the numbers from 1 to n. It's a factorial over here. So res equals to res multiplied by I. Right. So we found the what is a factorial? Just return the result over here. So this is a function for finding the factorial, right? Now next thing we do, just use the what is a formula over here. What is the formula? Okay, the first thing we need to find out the ways to choose pencils, right? Pencils. And also we have another one also we need to find out, which is nothing but ways to choose erasers, right? Ways to choose the erasers, right? So what is the formula over here? Factorial, right? So what is factorial of the thing is, what is the formula over here? We need to find out the number of pencils, right? So number of pencils are indicating this. These are the pencils and these are the pencils you need to be picked. So available, or we can say in a shop pencils, shop pencils. Okay, pencils boy need to choose pencils, choose pencils. Okay, there's many boys you can choose. So what is the meaning over here? So n number of we have, right? So n factorial, right? N factorial, right? Divided by n factorial divided by what we have next, divided by factorial of, which is nothing but p number of erasers you can choose, right? Multiplication. So I'll keep it beside a side. Yep. Factorial of n minus p. So this is actual formula over here. The same formula, whatever we discussed, the same formula I'm going to apply over here. And again, next fact of this time I want to choose the erasers, right? So it is going to be shop erasers, right? And why need to be choose this many, right? E number of pencils. So choose erasers this many, right? Just add the over here things. So m number of erasers are there divided by fact of, right? Fact of e number of erasers multiplied by fact of m minus e, right? M minus e pencils we can choose, erasers we can choose. So what is the last step? In total, what we need to find out? We need to calculate total ways, right? So just we know the how many ways are there to choose the pencils. So you know how many ways to have to choose the erasers. So what is the next thing? We need to find out total ways. total ways, right? So equals to, just multiply total ways to choose the erasers, total ways to choose the pencils, right? So at the last, just print the output as, the total ways, right? So I'm done with the code. So let's run the code. So to running, I need to just give the inputs over here. So I'm running the code. Okay, so it's asking for the inputs. Let's go with the test case over here, whatever the test case are given. We'll go with the first test case, 3, 1, 2, 1, right? So 3, 1, 2, 1. It will print 3, right? So you can able to see printing 3. That means function working fine over here. That means whatever the inputs we are giving, accordingly we're getting the output, right? Let's go to the next question over here. What we have? Sorry, next test case, which is 5353, right? For that, what we're getting output as a 1 over here, right? Let's check with the same thing. So I'll run the code. So it's going to be 5353, right? So 5, 5, 3, 5, 3, right? So you can able to see it's giving the 1 as the output. So this is the way to solve this question. So basically, I just read the question, I analyze the question. By analyzing question, I get to know that we need to use the over here a mathematical formula, because by reading the question I get to know here they're asking for the number of ways to choose the erasers and number of ways to choose the pencils. So they are asking total how many ways are there boys can choose the what to say the ways or number of erasers they can choose from the number of available erasers, and what are the ways they are how many ways are there where boy can choose the I would say e number of erasers from the m number of erasers. So that's the question over here basically. So reading the question we get to know we will just use the NCR formula. Okay, this formula will help us to find out the how many ways to we can choose the from n, we can choose the r from the n, right? If I have n number of choices, from there I how many ways are there I can choose the r number of choices. So basically thing I'm applying this same formula, so I'm getting the output over here. Yes, let's move to the next question. Right? Yeah, so yeah, go with the next question. So read the first of all question carefully, then we will go with the solution for this. Okay, basically in TCS NQT also they'll give the questions, right? You have to read the that story based question and you need to analyze the what is the logic for that, then you need to go through it. Okay, so yeah, question, let's read the question over here. One day Bob is playing zombie world video game. In a zombie game, each round will contain n zombies and each zombie energy is Zi. Okay, where I is lies in between 1 to n. Bob will start the round with a B energy. In order to move to the next level, Bob needs to kill all the n zombies, but Bob can select any one zombie from n zombies. If energy of Bob B is lesser than zombie energy Zi, then Bob will die and lose the round, else Bob will won during the fighting with zombie. Bob will lose his energy by Zi mod 2 and Zi by 2. At any point of the time of any point of game, Bob will play optimally. Now your task is to find out whether the Bob can reach the next level or not. What are the input format over here? The first line consists of B and n, where B is the energy of Bob and n is the number of zombies. The second line of the input contains Zi, where Zi is the list containing energy of the zombies separated by the space, and output format we will just print the yes or no, depends on upon whether the Bob can reach to the next level or not. Okay, that's constraint something they're given. Yep. So let's try to understand over here. So what they're given over here, the first thing they're given the B. So B is nothing but Bob energy. Okay, starting with the B energy. And what is the next? They're given the n over here, right? What is the n? It's going to be 3. And they're given the array elements, right? So they're given the array 5, 9, and 6. They're given the one formula also. What is the formula? Zi mod 2 Zi2. So it's going to be the given one formula Zi mod 2 and plus Zi by 2, right? So this is the one of the formula they given. Okay. So basically Bob going to lose this much energy each and every time. Okay. And also they mentioned some constraint. What are the constraint? What is that? If energy of Bob is lesser than zombie energy, okay, the Bob will die and lose the round. Else Bob will win during the fight with zombie. Bob will lose his energy by this much, right? This much energy is going to be lost. Okay, sorry, so it's going to be okay. This much energy is going to be waste, right? So what they're mentioning over here, if energy of Bob B is lesser than zombie energy, so we need to check with each and every time Bob health with the zombie's health. If it is lesser than Bob health is lesser than as compared to the set die zombie, we need to just you can declare like Bob is going to be die. Let's try to understand over here. Now I'm going to start my iterations over here. What is my first iteration? What is Z die over here? So Z die here in this case it's a 5. Like I'm starting from here. So if I'm taking the indexing 0, 1, 2, these are the indexing over here. So it's 5. What is the constraint over here? We need to check with Bob energy. So Bob energy is lesser than Z die. No, if you're checking 35, 35 is lesser than 5. 35 is lesser than 5? No, it's not lesser than. So that means Bob can easily defend this zombie, right? So to defend this zombie, so what is the formula? It's going to be this formula, right? So let's find out this Zi mod, this summation. So I'm going to let's take it as a. So Zi 5 mod 2, right? Plus what is next? 5 by 2, right? So to just find out the what to say the calculation for this 5 mod 2, what we'll get is going to be 5 mod 2 is going to be 1 and 5 by 2 2. What is summation of these 3? So Bob going to be lose the 3 energy over here. Bob going to lose 3 energy. 3 energy means what? The B minus 35 we need to perform over here. That means B going to be updated over here, right? So we will just update the what to say B energy. Why? Because to defend a zombie, Bob losing the to defend a zombie, Bob losing that much energy, right? So we just add those. We need to just subtract the that A from the B over here, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just update my here after that getting. I'm going to just update B equals to B minus A. That means 35 minus 3 is going to be 32. That means my this is going to be updated as a 32. For next round, Bob energy is 32, right? So I will go the next iteration where, right? So let's remove. So successfully, Bob defended the first zombie, right? Now let's go the next over here, which is nothing but second iteration where Zi equals to 9, right? Zi equals to 9. Now first of all, find out the A over here. Okay, before that we will check the condition. B is lesser than Zi. 32 is lesser than 9. No, right? So that means we can easily defend the this zombie. So 9 mod 2 plus 9 divided by 2. Okay, according to this, we need to just find out 9 mod 2. Is it divisible? No, right? So it's going to be 1 plus 9 by 2, 4, right? So it's going to be 5. So that means B equals to B minus A, which is nothing but 32 minus 5. So it's going to be 20. It's going to be 32 minus 5, right? So it's going to be 27, right? That means my Bob energy is also going to be updated as a 27 now, right? So I'm done with the second iteration. What is third iteration over here? We defended the second zombie successfully. Now what is the next one we have? We need to defend it. Next one we need to defend over here, which is nothing but with this one, sixth. The third iteration, zi equals to 6, right? So again, check with the b is lesser than zi. No, right? That means b is still greater. So that means we can defend this zombie. So a equals to 6 mod 2 plus 6 mod 2. So 6 by 2. Okay, 6 by 2. So it's going to be written 0, right? Plus this is going to be written 3. So it's going to lose, Bob going to be lose the 3 energy, which is 27 minus 3, which is nothing but 24 over here. So it's going to be 24. So after that, after that we don't have any elements, right? We don't have any zombies. So we just check Bob energy. We need to just check Bob energy, whether it's positive or negative. If it is positive means, yes, if it is positive means what will happen? Bob survived and he can move to the next, what to say, next level. If it is Bob energy is negative, lesser than 0, that means Bob cannot survive and we need to stop there itself, right? So let's convert the same thing into program over here. Let's convert the same thing into program. Okay. So we need to take the input from user, the first of all, right? So I'm going to remove the function. Okay, so I'm going to remove this. Okay. So first thing first, we need to take the input as per what they mentioned. The first thing we have the b equals to, which is nothing but b is nothing but the Bob energy initially going to start, and then we have the n, which is n number of zombies. C dot next int, right? And after that, we need to just create the array over here, which will store the zombies energies. Let's call it as a z, and int is going to be create the array object new. So it's going to be n size. Then I'm going to just use the for loop int I equals to 0, I lesser than n, and I plus plus. So z of I equals to store the all the zombies health over here, right? The stored. What is the next thing? Each and every time we need to check. We need to just do the. We need to iterate entire thing for int I equals to 0 and I lesser than n and I plus plus, right? So what is in the question that mentioned? If we need to just check with the zombie health with the Bob health. So whenever we found Bob health is lesser than the current ZI of zombie, we need to just tell that time Bob cannot survive. Right? We need to print the no, it cannot. So I need to just check each and every time to defend. Before defend, I'm going to just check if B is greater than Z of I. If this condition is true, if this condition is true, and also it is equals to, right? Equals to also. What if we have a condition like this, right? What if we have a condition like this? Okay, what if my current is ZI equals to 3, right? And let's see over here, 3, right? So it's going to be by 2 means it's 1. So it's going to be 1 and 1, 2. So what if my Bob health is going to be 2? So to defend this, Bob needs to spend 2 energy over here, right? 2 energy. So for sure, it's going to be defended over here. So but the thing is, here can evidence Zi is greater than this, right? So for sure, we cannot depend over here. So let's just check that condition accordingly the question over here. We need to check that. right? So we'll go with over here. Yes, I'm checking b is greater than z of I. If this condition is true, we need to find out the what to say, like a, okay, whatever we're finding, which is nothing but z of I mod 2, right, and plus z of I by 2. Whatever things I mentioned, the same kind of formula I'm going to use to defend that for zombie. Okay, this much energy Bob going to be lose. So just subtract b equals to b minus a we need to do. Else if it is not possible, we need to just print system dot out dot print no over here. We just print no, and we need to return. I don't want to print afterwards. Okay, after completion of this, suppose if Bob is survived, so check if Bob health is greater than or equals to 0. Okay, Bob health is greater than equals to 0. That means what? Bob successfully defended all the zombies. So we do just print over here print ln, we need to print yes, else according to the question we need to print no, we print no, right? So let's run the code. Let's check whether it's working fine. Okay, according to test case, whether it's working fine. Okay, what are the inputs over here? What are the inputs? Let's check. 35 3 596. 35 3 5 9 6. Right? Can everybody see? For this, Bob can survive. We'll give another test case where it's going to be failed. Where it's going to be failed. So where we have the 10 3 values. Where we have let's take it's that what is it 3, and let's take it as a 9, right, and 6, right? I'm taking these inputs. You can able to see Bob cannot survive. Why? Because if I'm checking for first zombie, it's less, it's still Bob health is greater than, it's fine. So it's going to be lose it 2 energy. For zombie 3, it's going to lose 2 energy, 3 energy. So after that, we are checking according to the question. We need to pick the zombie, and we need to check with the what the health with the, so the zombie health with the our Bob health or Bob energy. So this time this 9 what is it 10 is lesser than compared to the 9. So that time Bob cannot survive. We just print over there, it's a no, right? So this is the code over here. So we need to think about this, guys. Basically we need to think about the what are the ways over here. If you're reading the question, you need to first segregate the, and you need to analyze the entire thing. Okay, what they are asking and what we need to print. So according to the question, so I written the code over here, right? So now let's move to the next question. Yes, so we have the next question over here. Okay, read the question first of all, then we will go we need to implement, we need to just think about the question. Read the question and trying to find out the what to say logic for it. Okay, so let's read the question over here. What is the question? Alliance and Bob are batchmates, and Alliance got placed with a well-reputed product-based company, and his friend Bob is demanding a pizza party from him. Alliance is ready for giving the party, and he ordered n pizzas from the nearest restaurant. Now the pizzas can have at most k flavors. It is not necessary that there should be a one piece of each flavor, numbered from 1 to k, such that ith pizza can have ai flavors. Okay, so what are the flavors are there? Is going to be 1 to lesser than equals to k, and Bob is on a dieting, and he can only eat pizzas of at most k minus 1, right, flavors, but he can eat as many pizzas of ith flavor, and he wants to choose maximum possible pizzas which are in contiguous sequence to one another, such that all the pizzas in sequence has at most k minus 1 flavors. Okay, so here we have the test case 6 2 triple 1 2 2 and 1. They like is going to be telling like in ith flavor pizza has I flavor, right? So total 6 is the number of pizzas are there, 2 is the number of distinct flavors, right? Next, what it will print for output? Let's see. Yeah, here we have the thing. So test case, actual test case. Okay, 6 is the n. So let's write. Let's note it down the everything. So n equals to 6 and k equals to 2 and array elements. Array elements over here. What are the array elements? 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, and 1. Right? Now, Bob can eat only. Bob can eat what? Bob can eat only k minus 1 flavored pizza only. Up to k minus 1 flavored pizza only he can eat. Right? So let's try to understand. Let's check whether Bob can eat or not. So what is k over here? 2. 2 minus 1 is going to be 1. So Bob can eat up to 1 flavored pizza. That means the basically flavors are starting from what they mentioned. The flavors are starting from only the range of 1 to k, right? So we just keep a track of those. That means Bob can eat only 1 flavor pizza only, right? So I'll check. I'll check with the first one. I'll check with the first iteration. What is ith pizza? Ith pizza flavor is 1. So I'll check with the Bob. Bob can eat or not. So in this case, it's 1. So Bob can eat. Okay, so what is the longest sequence over here? It's going to be my count. I'm going to keep a track of count equals to 0. So I'm going to do the count increment. Okay, that means Bob can eat this ith flavor. Let's go with the second one. Second ith flavor what we have, which is again we're done with this. So next we have this, that also 1. So I'll check with this. Yes, Bob can eat. So I'll increment the count. Bob can eat this. Third, again ith flavor, right, which is again 1. Bob can eat because I'm checking each and every time Bob can eat or not. So it's going to be 3 again, right? So after that what we have, if you're checking next one, here we have the 2. If I'm checking with the Bob, let's say Bob can eat or not, it's cannot. He cannot eat because it's a second flavor pizza, right? But Bob can eat up to k minus 1 flavor, which is nothing but 1. So Bob at fourth iterations, when ith flavor is 2, Bob cannot eat. So leave it. Okay. Again, I'll check with the fifth also. Fifth flavored pizza, which is also 2. Bob cannot eat because k minus 1 he can eat only. Again, sixth iteration, we have a 1 flavored pizza. Bob can eat. So this time what will happen? They're asking consecutive, right? They're asking consecutive. So again, from here, another count is going to be start, which is nothing but 0. So Bob can eat, so it's going to be 1. Okay, basically they're asking continuously how many pizzas Bob can eat, and that also comes under k minus 1 only. So in this case, we're getting the 2 sequences over here. First sequence is 3, second sequence is 1. So we need to return the maximum how many pizzas he can eat. So it's going to be 3 over here. The output is going to be 3 over here. Understood what we need to return over here? Understood, guys? The same thing we need to convert into program. The same thing we need to convert into program. So this question is classic example of the coming to the what we can say it as a sequence. Okay, so we need to find out the continuous sequence over here. Okay, which comes under k. So let's try to solve this question. So what is my intuition over here? What is my intuition? I'm going to keep a track of max variable. I'm going to keep a track of max count, which is equals to 0. Okay, so I'll start from 0 to n because n number of what to say pizzas we have, right? Okay, over here I'm going to just initialize one count variable which is 0. Okay, it will keep a track of if I'm found the any sequence. Okay, in this case we can able to see here I found the sequence, right? Okay, how long the sequence is going to be formed from starting from ith location to ending of the ith location, right? So I'm going to just use the while loop because I want to find out the how many he can eat. Okay, from that if this condition is true, I'm going to check I lesser than n, right? And as well as if you're choosing any piece or if you're choosing any ith flavor, it should be lesser than. So ARR of I should be lesser than equals to k minus 1. Why k minus 1? Because Bob can eat only k minus 1 flavor pizza only. He cannot eat the exactly equals to k. He can eat only k minus 1 flavor only. So that's the reason we're checking error of I is lesser than equals to what we can say is going to be k minus 1, right? So I'll remove something from here. Sorry, eraser. Right. So what is the next thing over here? Okay, so after this we're going to write the code over here. Okay, what is the next thing? If it is eatable, we are checking basically here Bob can eat or not, right? Eating, if it is these conditions are true, that means we need to pick the that ith flavor pizza. Picking means count is incremented, right? So count plus plus for sure, count plus plus. What is the next step? Okay, if I'm choosing this one, that means next time in next subsequence whatever come I cannot choose this, right? So I have to move the I also the same thing, right? So this is done over here. And after that, after it's however is going to be stop some time. So what I'm going to check, let's try to understand. I'm starting from here. I'll check I is lesser than, let's give the indexing 0 1 2 3 4 and 5, right? So starting from here I is over here. Let's assume this is the ith loop, right? So I'm checking 1. Okay, let's check 0 is lesser than n. What is the n over 6, right? Condition is true. And also check with the error of I. This 1 is lesser than equals to k minus 1. What is the k in this case? 2. 1 is lesser than equals to 1. Yes, condition is also true. Just increment the count. So count going to be incremented. So it's initially 0. It's now 1. Again next, still my I is now 1. 1 lesser than 6. Condition is true. Again check next element which is nothing but 1. Yes, lesser than, again count is 2. Okay, it's 1. Previously 1, it's 2. I can check with 1 next is going to be 3, right? Okay, after that each and every time we need to keep a track of maximum, right? So after completion of this while loop, I'll take max count equals to, I'll store the maximum of, next I have to just mention over here, I take the maximum count comma the count of the sequence, current sequence. So at the last just we need to print the output as a max count, right? So this is actual we're discussing the logic. Let's go with the implementation part. It's the same thing. I'll go with over here. Okay, the same thing. I'm going to remove the previous code which I don't want. So next, and they're giving the sc dot next int, right? So int arr equals to new int of n, right? So it's going to be right. Next, they're given the after n, they're given the k, right? K number of flavors you can eat. Sc dot next int, right? Next, after that they're giving the values for it. So for int I equals to 0, I lesser than n, and I plus plus, right? I plus plus. What is the next step? What is the next step over here? We just take the input from user. So ARR of I equals to sc dot next int, right? So I'm going to just keep a track of max count. Okay, whatever we discussed. Okay. Then next I'm going to just iterate the entire array I equals to 0, I lesser than n, and I plus plus, right? So I'm going to just keep a track of the count over here. Okay, count equals to 0. It's going to find out this sequence, right? How many continuously Bob can eat the k minus 1 flavored pizzas. So I'll check I is lesser than n, and as well as error of what I say, I, it should be lesser than equals to k minus 1 flavored pizza. If this condition is true, just count it's going to be increment, and as well as I going to be increment. Why? Because Bob can eat, right? So that means it's going to be part of the sequence. So you just move the I also. So max count equals to math dot max, right? So max count comma the current count, whatever we are getting, right? That we need to check count. Okay, after completion of the this thing, we just print the output over here. What is the output? Just mentioning max count, right? So let's run the code. Let's see whether it's passing all the we need to give the inputs also, right? So what are the inputs over here? As per the inputs, it's going to be 6 2 triple 1 double 2 1, right? 6 2 is the keyword, and triple 1 double 2 and 1. So you can able to see Bob can eat the continuously 3 flavored pizza, right? Okay, let's go with the another one where we have right. So I'm going to just add here sixth element same as it is. This time I'm going to add the can eat only 2 flavored pizzas, and this time 1 space 1 space 1 space 1 space 2 space 1. Now this time, even this example, you can able to see Bob can eat at most, Bob can eat at most k minus 1 flavor. There's everything but none. 1. But coming to the how many continuously can eat, but coming to the, in this case, in this test case, is going to be this. So if I'm hitting enter, so we're getting the 4 over here, right? So I'm not doing anything else, right? I'm just reading the question. So accordingly question, I'm taking the input from user, then I'm performing the operation. So in this case, what will happen by reading only question, I get to know. We'll just find out this continuous, how many pizzas Bob can eat, right? So same kind of thing. What is the next over here? Yeah, so this is, and we'll check with the next test case also. So 5 3 1 1 2 2 1, right? Five 5 3 1 1 2 2 1. Now we can able to see here Bob can eat at most k minus 1 flavor, means 3 minus 1, which is nothing but 2 from 1 to 2 flavored pizza he can eat if coming like that continuously. So let's take over here. 1 is there, so it's lesser than equals to k minus 1. Yes, condition is true. Bob can eat. 2 1 also Bob can eat. 2 also Bob can eat. 3 also Bob can eat, and 1 also. That means continuously Bob can eat 5 flavored pizzas, right? Continuously Bob can eat 5 flavored pizzas over here. Understood? Let's go with the another test case where we are going to deal with the another type of. Okay, so we have the 5, right? So the flavored pizzas are in the range from, let's see, it's going to be 2, and we have all two flavored pizzas, right? We have all 2 flavored pizzas. Now we can able to see here we have the all the same flavored pizza, but coming to the there we don't have any pizza which Bob can going to be eat. Why? Because can able to say all are 2, but Bob eat can only k minus 5 flavored pizzas only, right? So if I eat an enter, you can able to see Bob cannot eat the in the list out whatever the only flavored pizza there. He won't eat anyone, because why? He are on diet. He's on a diet, right? So the question itself they mention he's on a diet. So you can eat only the k minus 1 flavored pizza, right? Understood? So yeah. So this is a question. Let's go to the next question over here. Okay, so it is like okay. Yeah. So here we have the next question. So I'll explain this question. Okay, just try to code it. Okay, just take the photo, just try to code it. I'll explain the question over here, right? So what is the question over here? We have a okay question, an event management system company, right? As it came up with the unique idea of printing their event tickets based on the ticket number combination STR1, the visitor is directed towards a particular class of audience. The task here is to create a program application to fetch the ticket number based on the following conditions. What are the conditions? Any occurrence of the digits E and F and G should be deleted if the characters E and F should be in a same format. Okay, so let's try to understand the question over here. Okay, we'll go with the input. So in input they are given, this is the input. Okay, 45, 23 E and F, then 58, then G. Okay, this is the string they are given. This is the string they are given. Okay, str we can say, right? So what is thing over here? We need to find out the based on the whatever conditions they are given, we need to find out the string over here. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to start from here. I'll check what is the constraint over here. They mentioned if E and F coming alone, like they're coming in the same order. First E is occurring in next character we have F. That means we need to delete E and F. If G is coming alone also, we need to delete it, right? So I'll check over here. Okay, 5 is there. It's equals to, I'll check conditions. So what are the conditions? First condition I'll check whether is character ch is equals to or say E, and as well as ch is equals to F. The next char is going to be next char. Okay, next char is F. And what's the next case over here? If my character is equals to G or not, right? Whether it's a G or not. So any one of the condition is true, we need to just delete it, right? So I'm starting from here. Let's numbering the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, what to say our string indexes, right? So check fourth one, right? So check any condition is satisfying or not. 4 is equals to E or no, equals to F1 no. Check with this equals to zero, no. That means we need to just update the I. Check what it is. 5 is equals to E or F, no. G, update, no. Yeah, here we found the issue. What is that? E is there, so E is matching. Check with the next character also, which is F. Yes, both are matching. Just remove it. Again 5 not, 6, 8 not. G, yes, it's matching, so remove it. So what is the output over here? 45, 23, 58 is the output over here. If we're checking output also, we're getting the same output over here, right? So let's check with the another test case where we have the E 12 F 3 5 G 58. This is a string, right? So I'll start from the first. The condition is what? CH is equals to E. Yes, condition is satisfied first, but coming to the next one, we'll check the next character also. Next character is also the next character is also is equals to F. No. Why? In the question is they mentioned if if E is coming, the next character should be F. Then only we can delete it. Otherwise, we cannot. So in this case, condition is false, so we cannot remove it. Just move the next character, which is 2, no. F, no. And 3, 5, and we are G alone. Just remove it, and 58. So it's going to be output like E 12 F 35 and 58. Right? This is the output over here. So I'll give you another example over here. So it's going to be 12 E. Sorry, it's going to be 12 F E 2 and G. So for this, what is the output over here? First, 12 is going to be printed. Why? Because they are not equals to E and F. Now next, F is occurring. F is occurring means it's not a valid one, right? In the sequence, what they mentioned, first E going to be encountered, then only F going to be encountered, right? So that's the reason. Same thing over here. So that is not a valid one. So F is going to be same like that only, and E also same. Then 2, then is G. So G is going to be deleted. So this is my output over here. So understood the question. So your task is to just what do you say? Write the program for this. Okay, just try this one. Okay, and yeah. So that's it for today, guys. Because it's up to 7 o'clock. So next, Sumimol ma'am going to be take the session. Okay, thank you, guys.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Good evening. I hope I'm audible to everyone. Right. So this class is to be TCS NQT last minute preparation techniques. So here I'll be giving you few techniques how to clear the rounds. So first of all, first we'll discuss about how or when the test date is. So TCS NQT follows an integrated test pattern for entry level hiring for IT and non IT. And here is the test pattern. So first you can check that sections, number of questions and the duration. So you'll be having two parts. One is part A and the other is part B. So in numerical ability you may have 20 questions for 25 minutes, And for verbal ability, 25 questions for 25 minutes. Reasoning ability, 20 questions for 25 minutes. When it comes for part B, the advanced section, quantitative aptitude in the advanced reasoning ability and quantitative reasoning, you may have 14 questions for 25 minutes and advanced coding is for 290 minutes. So totally you may have 81 questions and then you may have 190 minutes to complete. So in the last session you would have learned how to clear the round for the technical. Now we are going to discuss the part for aptitude. So the platform you will be using is TCS ION. So here I have given you a small tip that is an important note. That is, there will not be any negative marking. So it's a very important thing which is easy for us to. So the second one given is you will not get any extra rough paper in the exam as a calculator or rough paper will be available on your desktop screen. And the next, you are not allowed to move your eyes down while giving the examination. Candidates are not allowed to switch between sections or subsections. Candidates are not allowed to revisit questions that have already been answered. So these are the main important notes which you have to remember while you are taking your exam. So just read it carefully. There won't be any negative marking. You will not get any extra rough paper in your exam to use a calculator or even any other calculations. And then you're not allowed to move your eyes down while giving the examination. Candidates are not allowed to switch between sections or subsections. And then candidates are not allowed to revisit the question, right? So this is the important note which you have to remember while you are taking any of the question. Just complete it and go for the next one. You're not allowed to revisit the particular question which is allowed. Okay. So here we have a base formula, a base to revision. So I'll give you what are the base formulas which you have to remember. So first thing we are taking from the part of algebra, right? So now we all know how to solve an algebra, algebraic expressions and so on. So first we will just revise what are the formulas are included here. Now the first one given here is sum of first n natural numbers. So here we may know that how to go for solving what? The sum of n natural numbers. So the formula given here is n into n plus 1 divided by 2. And we all know that n have to be applied as the nth term which we are going to add. For example, let's take the number as they have given you a series as 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 and so on. Let's take first n natural numbers. So first n natural numbers to be taken as, let's take as what, 100, means n values taken as 100 here. So we may apply the nth value as what, 100. So 100 into 100 plus 1 divided by 2, you may get what, first n natural numbers value. And the next formula given here is sum of the squares of n natural numbers. So it is n into n plus 1 into n plus 2n plus 1 by 6. So this is the formula of sum of squares of first n natural numbers. So even if I am taking any of the numbers, if I want to identify sum of the squares, we may use the formula as what? N into n plus 1 into n plus 2n plus 1 by 6. And the next which is given here is sum of the cubes of first n natural numbers. So it is n into n plus 1 divided by 2 the whole square. So here the next part given here is sum of first n natural numbers of odd number. So it is taken as n square. sum of first n natural odd numbers is taken as what? N square. And the average, we know the formula, sum of the items divided by number of items, or sum divided by the total number of terms, right? So this is the other formulas which you have to remember from algebra, which may help you to for your exam, right? And the next part, just remember that the formula which we are learned is sum of first n numbers, sum of squares, sum of cubes, and sum of first n natural numbers when it is an odd number, and the other one is averages, right? And the next part given here is arithmetic progression. So when we are discussing about arithmetic progression and AP, so arithmetic progression, we know that term which may have a common difference, right? For example, let's take the same data which we have taken already. Let's take 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. So now we have to check that whether the number is an arithmetic progression. So how you may identify the arithmetic progression? Yes. So we'll take the part of what? The second term minus the first term, right? So you may take that as T2 minus T1. So second term minus first term, you may get what? The difference. Similarly, from second to third, you may take that as T3 minus T2. So you may get the second difference as well, right? So this is how we will go for solving arithmetic progression to check out whether it is an arithmetic progression or a geometric progression, right? So now they have given you a simplest data from if it is a arithmetic progression. Let's take the data as 3, 6, 9, 12 and so on. Okay. So here I've given you an number series. I have to identify whether the number series is an arithmetic progression or not. So how I may check that? I may check the value as second value minus the first value. I'll get the difference as 3. Similarly, 9 minus 6, I'll get the difference as 3. 12 minus 9, I'll get the difference as 3. Right? So, this particular number series is an arithmetic progression. Now, if they're asking you to identify to solve the nth term of an arithmetic progression, you may use the formula as what? A plus n minus 1 into d. So, here, A is taken as what? The first term. Right? So here you may take that A as the first term. So what is the first term given here? 3. Right? So if I am applying that as 3 plus, so sum of nth term. So let's take the value as sum of first 20 terms. Okay. So if I am taking the part, first 20 terms means I have to apply the nth term as what? 20. So 20 minus 1 into what is a common difference we have identified, which is 3. So you may apply the value as 3 again here, right? So 3 plus 12 minus 1 into 3, so you have to take this as 19 into 3 plus 3, you may get the final answer. That's the part of nth term in arithmetic progression, right? So to identify the nth term, I've given you the sum of first 20 terms, right? Just take that, identify the nth term as what? 20th term. So you may use the formula as what? The formula A plus n minus 1 into B. Just correct it out. Now, the next part is sum of first n terms of an arithmetic progression. So here you may take the formula as n by 2 into 2a plus n minus 1 into d. This is a formula of what? Sum of first n terms. So you may use this formula. Right. So here they have given you two formulas. These are the two formulas which is required to solve arithmetic progression. Remember a thing, you may get only two questions, that is identifying the nth term and identifying the sum of the terms. Alright. Now let's go for geometric progression. So here in this geometric progression, where we will check for common ratio. So maybe in arithmetic progression you would have checked the common difference, but for geometric progression we have to look for whether it is having a common ratio. So how you may identify a common ratio? Let me give you a number series. Let's take the first series as 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. So if I'm taking that common ratio, I'll take the value as what? T2 divided by T1. Similarly, T3 divided by T2. This is how we'll take what? Common ratio. So now if I'm applying this value here, I won't get the common ratio because I'll take that as what? 2 by 1, and the next one is 3 by 2 and so on. Will I get a common ratio? No, there is no common ratio, right? But if I'm checking the part of, let's take the number series as 2, 4, 8, 16, 32 and so on. I have to check whether this is in geometric progression. How I may check whether this is a geometric progression? Yes, I'll apply that as T2 as 4 divided by 2. I'll get, if I'm cancelling out, I'll get a value as what? I'll get a value 2 here. Similarly, 8 by 4, I may get a value 2. Similarly, 16 by 8, I may get a value 2. So I'm getting a common ratio as 2, so we can tell that this is in geometric progression. So if we are having a geometric progression, I may get two different questions. One is identifying the nth term and identifying the sum of terms. Similarly, we have learned from the part of arithmetic progression, we are applying the formula a into r power n minus 1. Okay, just change out this formula, a into r power n minus 1. And when it comes for sum of the first n terms in GP, so sum of nth term is taken as a into r min 1 minus r power n divided by 1 minus r. So this is how we will take the formulas to identify the geometric progression. I hope this is clear for you people. If there is any doubt in these two parts, arithmetic progression and geometric progression, you may text in the chat box so that I could also find if there is any clarifications. Okay. And the next part given here is test of divisibility. So how I may check divisibility rules? So here I have given you a few divisibility rules. So here they have given you the numbers from 2 to 10. So how I can apply and how I can identify what? Identifying the formulas or to identify a shortcut of divisibility. So now if they have given you the number 2, I may go with checking the last number or a last digit or a unit digit whether it is an even number or not. Either it should end with 0 or else it may have any even number, right? And when it comes for 3, let's take 3, we have to take sum of the digits. So sum of the digit means let's take a value as 36, the simplest number, right? Okay. So if I'm taking the simplest number 36, just have to take sum of the digit. How I can apply that? That is 3 plus 6, I may get the value 9, and when I'm dividing 9 by 3, I'll get the value 3, right? So obviously the number 36 will also divisible by 3 because 3 is a multiple or a divisible of 3, so we could take that. Similarly, even if they've given you a value as 81, how I could take? I'll take as 8 plus 1, so it is 9. 9 divided by 3, again I'll get 3. This is how you will check for divisibility rule of 3. I hope this is clear for everyone. Now let's go for the number 4. So 4 we have to check only the last two digits. So if they've given, let's take the number as 736. So I have to take whether the last two digit will be divisible by 4 or not. So I know that 36 will be divisible by 4 obviously for 9 times, right? So we can tell that 736 will also divisible by what? Divisible by 4. Now let's check with the number 5. A number is divisible by 5 if its unit digit is either 5 or 0. Maybe let's take a number as 755 or else 750. Any number which is ending with 5 or else ending with 0, you may go for applying it, right? And let's go with the number 6. So for divisibility rule of the number 6, you may check for 2 and 3. Why we are checking for 2 and 3? Because to identify what? Whether it is a co-prime number of 6. You know that 2 and 3 are the co-prime number of 6. How could I remember that whether the number is a co-prime number or not? Yes. So I'll check the part of the LCM and the HCF, right? So if I'm taking the number 2 and 3, so if I'm taking 2 and 3 the LCM of 2 and 3 I may get the number as what? 6. And can you tell me what is the highest common factor of what? 2 and 3? You may get the number 1. So here, obviously, if I'm taking a LCM, I'll get the product of the term, right? I'll get the product of the term. If I'm checking the HCF, it will always be 1. So I identify what whether the number is in co-prime number or not. So now let's go with the next number. Continuation of it. A number is divisible by 8. The number formed by last 3 digits. This is very easy to remember that when it comes for the divisibility rule of 4. What is the divisibility rule of 4 we have learned? Which is the last 2 digits, right? So here for the number 8, it is taken as last 3 digits. Similarly, just to a shortcut of rememoration, just we can take down the part. What is 4 into 2? I'll get the number 8. So for 8, it is taken as last 3 digits. Because for 4, it is last 2 digits. And for 8, it is taken as what? Last 3 digits. Alright? So let's take the part of 8 into 2. What is 8 into 2? Which is 16. So what is the divisibility rule of 16? Yes. If for 4 last 2 digits, similarly for 8 it is last 3 digits, and for 16 it must be what? Could you remember that, or could you tell me what can be? Yes, it is 4 digit, last 4 digit, right? Similarly 32 you may get for 5 digits, 64 you may go for what? Last 5 digits, and so on, right? Let's go with the next number 7. 7. A number is divisible by 9. A sum of digits is divisible by 9. So if I'm going for a number, let's take again the simplest number which we have already took, that is 36. Sum of digits, which is what? 3 plus 6, I may get the number as what? 9. 9 divided by 9, I'll get the number as what? 1 again, right? So here, this is same as the rule for 3, where sum of the digits divisible by 3 or 9, right? And the last one they have given us divisibility rule of 10. So you may take the last digit as 0, right? It must end with 0. Let's take any number 10 or 200 or 350 or so on, right? The unit digit must end with 0. So the number will divisible by 10. Similarly, we may have any other digits as well. Let's take the number as 11. So what can be the divisibility rule of the 11? That is sum of odd placed terms subtracted with sum of even placed term. So how will I solve that sum of odd placed term minus sum of even placed term? Let's take the number as 121. So here I have to take sum of odd placed term, which is 1 plus 1. I may get the number 2. This number is subtracted with the even placed number. So 2 minus 2, I may get 0 or else I may get 11 or multiples of 11, right? So to check the divisibility rule of this number, just have to take the difference of the numbers as what? Sum of even place term minus sum of odd place terms. I'll subtract it so that I could get the answer as 0 or 11 or multiples of 11, right? I hope this is clear for everyone. Now let's check with the one more number as what? 12. Let's take the number 12. So if I'm taking the number 12, how could I solve the number for 12? I have to again check for the co-prime number. If I'm checking the co-prime numbers, um, I know that 6 into 2 I'll get the number 12, but if I'm taking LCM of 6 and 2, I'll get only 6, not as 12. But I have to take the number as 12, right? So what are the numbers which we can apply, which is 3 into 4? 3 into 4, I'll get the number 12, which is LCM of 3 and 4 is again 12. What is the highest common factor of 3 and 4? Again, it is 1, right? So that we could apply the number as 3 and 4. Similarly, you may have till 20 rules and even more than 20. If it is a prime number, obviously there will be a specific rule for identifying. And if there is any other number, if I am taking the number as 15, so for 15 I may check with co-prime number as 3 into 5. So if I am taking LCM, I'll get 3 into 5. LCM of 3 and 5 which is 15 and LCM is 1. Again, if I am taking for let's take for 18. For 18 I may take 9 into 2, right? So 9 and 2 have to be applicable. Similarly, for any other prime numbers, let's take the number what? 17. If I'm taking the number 17, have to apply a rule, right? Last digit into 4 and subtract it from the other number, right? Alright. So that's all for the part of divisibility rules. Let's go with the next part, HCF and LCM, right? I hope you have cleared about the part how to apply the divisibility rules. If there is any doubt, you may give your clarifications. And the next part given here is HCF and LCM. So here always we know that about HCF is what? Highest common factor, and LCM is the least common multiple, right? So when it comes for the HCF and LCM, they have given you such data. Just read out it. The other names of HCF which is taken as greatest common divisor. The HCF of two or more numbers is the greater number that divides each one of them exactly. The least number which is exactly divisible by one another each word, LCM called. And the next given here is what? Percentages, right? So here in percentages we know that basic thing how I'll go for percentages, A% of B, right? So if I'm taking A percentage of B, how I may write this? I'll take this as A% of B, right? So this is how I'll write A% of B, right? Okay. So now let's take the simplest question. Okay. The question given here is, I'll give you a simple question, which is 82 percentage of 150. To identify what is 82 percentage of 150. Before solving this particular question, you have to remember a thing that A percentage of B will always be equals to B percentage of A, right? If I'm taking the question as 20 percentage of 30 will be equal to 6, then what is 30 percentage of 20? Again it is 6. Just have swapped the data, right? So I can tell what A percentage of B will always be equals to B percentage of A. This we have to remember and note of, right? now just take down the number. What is 82 percentage of 150? Could you tell me what is 82 percentage of 150? Right. Can you tell me what is 82 percentage of 150? Yes. So just solve that. 82 percentage of 150 you may take that as 123. Now even I can split down the data as what? 150 percentage of 82, I'll get the same answer as 123, right? So if I'm taking that as 150 percentage of 82, again I'll get the same number. So now you may split the numbers as well. If you are not comfortable to solve the question as 150 percentage of 82, again writing as 150 by 100 into 82. Instead of that, you may go with what? Splitting the data. So how I may split the data? I'll split this as 100 percentage plus 50 percentage. So if I'm splitting that 100 percentage plus 50 percentage, 100 percentage of 82 I'll get 82 and 50 percentage of 82 I'll get 41. If I'm adding this 82 plus 41, I may get that as 123, right? This is how you'll solve the simplest number from the part of what? Percentage. And here I have few other questions which may ask from the part, right? Okay. So here first one given here is if A is R percentage more than B, then B is less than A by what percentage? So what is the percentage which we are taking? So it's taken as R by 100 plus R by R into 100. Similarly, if A is R percentage less than B, then B is more than A by R by 100 minus R into 100. Right? So now let's go for the next part. If the price of a commodity increases by R percentage. So how I can solve this particular question? Yes. So here the reduction in consumption not to increase the expenditure. So for this you may get few questions. Let's take a simple example for the first part. Okay. If I'm taking that, okay. So let's take the part as initially the cost of a pen was rupees 2 and now it is raised this 4. So now I have to identify by what percentage the cost of a pen is increased from 2 to 4. Now let's take the formula, right? So even if it is a percentage increase or percentage decrease, you may go with the formula final value minus initial value by base value into 100, right? So here I'll go with the part final value minus value, which is nothing but difference, right? So if I'm taking the part of difference of both the value, I'll get 2 by what is the base value? So from 2 it have raised, right? So my base value should be taken as 2. 2 by 2 into 100, I may get the value is what? 100 percentage. Similarly, for percentage decrease from 4 to 2, if I want to get the original value, how could I solve this? I'll solve this as what? Difference is 2 divided by, what is my base value now? From 4, I have to bring the value 2. So my value should be taken as 4. So which is nothing but 1 by 2. 1 by 2 can be taken in percentage as what? 50 percentage. So if 100 percentage is increase, 50 percentage is decrease. So now can you tell me what? If 50 percentage is increasing, if 50 percentage is increasing, how much should decrease? What is the next percentage of it? If 1 by 2 is increasing, 1 by 3 should decrease. So the value can be taken as 33.33. 33.33 percentage should decrease, right? So now just you have to know that if n percentage is increased, so you have to remember a thing, n plus 1 will get decreased. Right. I hope this is clear for everyone. Excuse me. Right. Now let's go for the next part given, profit and loss. So here, for the part of profit and loss, here they have given you what are the basic formulas are used. So the formula for gain, for profit and loss. So for profit, you may use the formula selling price minus cost price. So for profit, it is selling price minus cost price. For loss, you may take the formula cost price minus selling price. Even you may take the previous formula. If you are getting a value in a negative value, you may check for which is a loss. If it is a positive value, you may go for checking at as a profit, right? Similarly, for profit and loss percentage, after identifying the profit and loss, you may check for profit percentage and loss percentage. So for profit percentage, you may change this formula as what? Profit percentage and loss percentage, that is selling price minus cost price by cost price into 100. Similarly here even cost price into 100. This is the formula you'll use for checking what? Profit or loss percentage. I hope this particular thing is clear for everyone. Now let's go for the other part, which is selling price. They have given how to identify gain plus 100 percentage divided by 100 into CP. Right. I hope I'm audible to you all, right? Okay. So here I've taken the loss percentage and gain percentage. So you may took the formula as what? Selling price minus cost price by cost price into 100. Similarly for loss percentage, you may take what? Cost price minus selling price by cost price into 100. Right. So now the next part here, given here is what? Even one more thing which you have to remember, it's a small shortcut or a trick which we can apply. If two products are sold and in on one transaction you may get 10 percentage profit, you may get 10 percentage profit, and on the other 10 percentage loss, right? That is 1 SP is equal to 1 CP, right? That is 1 SP is equal to 1 CP. But if they've given you a value as 1 SP is, but if they've given you a value as 1 SP is equal to 1.1 CP, then I could tell the value is 10 percentage profit, right? Similarly, if I got 1 SP is equal to 0.11 CP, I could tell that as what? 90% CP, I could tell that as what? 90 percentage loss. If I'm taking that 0.9, then I can go for 10 percentage loss, right? I hope this is clear for everyone. If it is, if in the part of number line, let's take 1 as the cost price. So here, if 1.1, 1.2, 1.3 is given and so on, let's take the part if 1.1 is 10 percentage profit, 20 percentage profit and 30 percentage profit. Similarly, if it is 0.9 and if it is 0.8 and 0.9 and so on, you may take as what? With sorry, it's 7. You may take the value as 10 percentage loss, 20 percentage loss and 30 percentage loss, right? Okay, so that's all the basic concept which you have to learn for profit and loss, and even according to questions, you have to vary the part. Okay, right. I hope this is clear for everyone. Now let's go with the next, ratios and proportion. So here in this ratios and proportion, the ratio of A is to B represents as a fraction A by B. So we know that always ratios can also be uh, written in the form of fraction or a P by Q format, right? And that's called ratio. When it comes to proportion, when I'm taking two different ratios, let's take A is to B and C is to D. These two different ratios, when I'm equating both, that will be in which form? In a form of proportion. You may get three values as well. Let's take A is to B is to C. So if in such cases it's called as continued proportion, you may take the value as what? A by B will be equal to B by C. Okay. So if it is a continued proportion, obviously you may have three values, and if that is a normal proportion, you will take two different ratios to solve for, right? Okay. And they have given you that if we have got A is to B is to C is to D, sum of a product of the middle term will be equal to the product of the extreme terms. Product of midterm will always be equal to product of extreme terms, right? So that's all for the basic part of ratios. And then they have given the part of time and work, right? So when it comes for time and work, if A can do a piece of work in n days, then A's 1 day work is 1 by n. If A and B works together for n days, so then that can also be taken as what? 1 by n. A plus B is 1 day's work, right? Right. And the next part they have given here is time and work, right? If A is twice as good workman as B, then ratio of work done by A and B is 2:1. So here we may have a shortcuts to solve. So first thing, remember a thing. Uh, if you're going for solving a time and work question, let's take the part. Let's take A can complete a piece of work in 20 days. B can do it in 30 days. If they're working together, in how many days will they complete the work? This is the question they've asked. So now, you don't want to go for solving. You may have two methods to solve. One is the LCM method and the other one is the normal traditional method. Right? So these are the two methods to solve what? time and work. So we'll go with the traditional method and even LCM method. So here LCM method will be easy for solving all kind of questions from time and work rather than going with traditional method, because it may take lots of time to solve, but in LCM method you may solve it very quickly. Okay, so for LCM, in any of the time and work question you get, what is the first step you have to do is have to take LCM for the days. LCM for days. So what is the LCM for 20 and 30, which you may take that as 60. So you have to assume the total work. Total work is 60, and then you have to take the efficiency of person. So efficiency of A, let's say that is what, total work divided by number of days A is working for. Number of days A is working for. So you may take total work as 60 by 20, which is nothing but 3 units per day. So in one day he may complete 3 units, and in 60 days he may complete 20 units. Similarly, we have to check for efficiency of B. Total work, which is 60 divided by 30, which is nothing but 2 units per day. Right. So I hope this is clear for everyone. And then what is the unit per day which both the persons have done? Which is 5. 3 plus 2, I'll get the value as 5. So in one day, only 5 units of work is completed. Right. So to complete the entire work, you may take 60 divided by 5. So you may take 12 days. So this is the easiest question which I have took. You may get few questioners. A starts the work, after 2 days A left, and then B continues the work. And then before completion of the work, or before completion of 3 days of work, A joins them. So in such cases, going with LCM method will be easier than going with the traditional method, right? But for this particular question, you may go with any kind of method. One can be LCM or traditional, because it may be easy for only for this particular question. So I hope this is clear for everyone. Even just remember that first thing you have to check is for time and work, you have to take LCM for given number of days, and then check the efficiency, or pipe C, which can fill in 1 hour, or pipe C, which can fill in 1 hour, and then the total number of or hours which is open for, and then you, according to the question, your answer may vary. So again, I hope this clear for everyone. Pipes and systems and time and work are same concept which you have to go for solving. And the next part is time, speed and distance. So here in time, speed, distance, so they have given you time and distance. Distance can be taken as the formula as what? Speed into time. So what's the formula of time? Time can be taken as distance by speed. And then speed can be taken as distance by time, right? So these are the formulas. Just remember, I'll give you a quick shortcut to remember the formula. Take down a triangle and note down here as distance, speed and time. If it is distance, you have to multiply speed and time. If it is time, you have to divide distance and speed. If it is right. So now the next part is even you may get few questions in different data. Let's discuss. They've given you 1 kilometer per hour to meter per second. So that is conversion of units. If you want to convert the unit kilometer per hour to meter per second, you may take that as speed into 5 by 18. Similarly, for meter per second to kilometer per hour, you may take the formula speed into 18 by 5, right? So these are the two formulas which you have to remember for conversion of units, that to kilometer per hour to meter per second, and then meter per second to kilometer per hour. Alright. Now let's go with the next part, problems on trains. So here you may get two different data, whether it can be a relative speed or an effective speed. Just you don't want to bother about whether it is a relative or effective speed. They'll give you two different data. Like one is a stationary item and the other one is moving object. Stationary item and the other one is moving object. For stationary item, you may get what? Lamppost or bridge or a platform. Similarly, you may get different things. For moving object, you may get man moving in opposite or in same direction, or is the other train. Okay. So these are the two things you may get for stationary item and moving object. So now let's take the part of what? Stationary item. So for stationary item, if that if they have given any lamp post, uh, a train which is crossing from this to this side, you have to exactly cross over here. We don't want to consider this lamp post. Just take down that speed into 5 by 18. If they have given any other what other unit, just change out that and you can apply that and to identify the distance or the time or the thing which have been given. Okay, but when it comes for any bridge or a platform, so here my distance should change, because if that is a platform or any bridge, if there is a train here, this train entirely should cross the bridge or the platform. So the total distance have to be taken as what? The distance of train plus distance of bridge, right? Or platform. This is taken as what? The total distance. I hope this is clear. So first you have to check whether it is a bridge or a platform. So let's go for checking the part of what? If a person is moving in the same direction or if a person is moving in an opposite direction. Okay. Right. So let's take the part as what? A person is moving towards the side and the person is moving towards the same direction. What time this person 1 may meet the person 2? As they are moving in same direction, there will be two different speeds. Let's take 5 kilometer per hour. He can walk 7 kilometer per hour. Okay. We have to check that by what time he will catch the other person. Okay. For example, I have given you 5 kilometer per hour and 7 kilometer per hour. So now if they are moving in the same direction, I have to what? I have to subtract the speed. So subtract the speed is 5 minus 7. Okay. I have to subtract the speed. If they have given us opposite direction or moving opposite or towards each other, where you have to add the values. The distance have to be, or the speed have to be added. Okay, hope this is clear. Right. And the next part they have given you here a same direction faster than the other train. So you may apply the formula as x plus y by u minus v has. Right. And if that is in opposite direction, you may check for what? U plus v. The first train plus the second train speed. Okay. Right. So here they have given the next part is simple interest and compound interest. For simple interest, we know the formula as PNR by 100. And for compound interest, P into 1 plus R by 100 to the power n minus P. And the amount is principal plus interest. And then they have given you few formulas for logarithms. Right? So for log A, the value is 1, log A to the base of x, 1 to the base of x is equals to 0. So here you may have few properties to remember or the characteristics to be remembered, which is log A plus B. Log A plus B can be taken as what? Log A plus log B, which we can take that as log AB. You may get few questions by application of this part. And the other one, log A minus log B, which we can take that as log A by B. Similarly, and the formula which is given over here, log A power B can be taken as B log A, and the other one, log A to the base of B can be taken as 1 divided by log B to the base of A. Right? So these are few tips which you can remember. Alright. And then they have given you the part of mensuration, where obviously we have to learn the formulas to solve each and every question from the part of what? Mensuration. So here few examples of the questions which is given. Area of triangle, area of parallelogram, area of rhombus, area of trapezium, quadrilateral and regular hexagon. And the volume and surface area of a cube, cuboid, area and perimeter. Right. So that's all for the part of today's class. These are the basic things which you have to remember. So here I've given you few questions or the weightage which you have to look for. Focus on the topics that frequently appear in tests like profit and loss, time and work, time speed distance, percentages, simple and compound interest. So this is for quantitative aptitude. And when it comes for logical reasoning, you may check for puzzles, syllogisms, blood relations and series. And for verbal ability, reading comprehension, grammar, sentence correction. And for programming, you may check for basic programming concepts, loops, functions, arrays, and pseudocodes. Right? So these are the prioritizing high weightage topics which you have to look for. Hope you have understood what we have revised in this particular class. Just we have revised what are the basic formulas which can be applicable for our exam, which is useful for our exam again. And here the approach they've given you, practice with a timer. So we know that it's a time bound nature. Obviously you have to work under, you have to solve a question under a pressure. So to tackle it, remember a thing, or while you're practicing questions, practice more questions with setting up a timer according to your capability. And don't revise or don't learn a new topic which you doesn't knows about. Just revise the concept which you already know about, so that you could able to complete or could solve the question which comes under that category. And here I have given you few tips for verbal ability. So for verbal ability, the last minute tip which you can use is revise key grammar rules were tenses, articles, preposition, subject verb agreement. So, and you can go through few vocabulary words as idioms or phrases. Practice few reading comprehension quizzes. So that may helpful for completing a question in few minutes. And one more thing you have to remember when it comes for reading comprehension, they'll give you a reading comprehension passage and a question. After a particular question, they'll give you other questions from other concepts, maybe from quantitative aptitude or from verbal ability or from logical reasoning. And again, 4 to 5 questions they'll give you again. Do a thing whenever they give a reading comprehension passage, do read it and then go for solving the question. Don't waste time in reading comprehension question by reading every time again and again. Is it clear? And then the reasoning ability, they have given you puzzles, syllogisms, blood relations, clocks, calendars, and then what? Logical exam. Do well. Happy learning.